Hey everyone, welcome to Data Millennials. I'm Atul, and in today's video we are going to discuss about SQL having clause. Before we go and write some queries with having clause, let's discuss about the use of this having clause and why we needed this having clause when we already have where clause in SQL. So this having clause was added to SQL because the where keyword could not be used with the aggregate functions, and most of the times when you are using an aggregate function in SQL, you have to use certain conditions also, because you want to filter out your data and then you have to take either the sum or count based on your requirement. So when you're using an aggregate function, you cannot use where clause. So SQL provided us an alternate way of doing that by having this particular having clause. So let's go and see what I'm trying to say you is that we have this subscriber base here, email data.subscriber base, and let's run this query. So let's think of a example where we have to take the count of total number of people from a particular city which we have in our subscriber base. So basically we want city and the count of subscriber ID in that city. So the simple query for that would be select city name, or we can say city comma count of subscriber ID as number of subscribers from this table, right? But when we are using count, which is an aggregate function, we have to use group by, else we won't get our correct output. So we'll put group by 1. And now if I run this query, I'll get the entire list of city and the number of subscribers from those city. Now what you have to do is that you have to filter out those cities where the subscriber is more than 3 or equal to 3, right? And you have to get only those cities name. So if you put a where clause here saying that where this count of subscriber is greater than equal to 3, it won't work, and it will give you an error message saying that invalid use of group function. So let's run this. Oh, okay, let's put this where clause before this group. Okay, and let's run this. So you can see here we have invalid use of group function. So we cannot use a where clause when we have an aggregate function in our query. So instead of this where clause, what we can do is that we can use a having clause. Okay, now the having clause is added after the group by statement. So what we can do here is that we can basically say select the city name and take the count of that subscriber ID within the table, group it by city, and instead of where clause you can put having this count of subscriber ID is greater than equal to 3. Now what this query will do is that it will simply first take the entire city list, it will put the respective count of subscriber ID in front of that city list, and then it will filter out the subscriber ID's count which is greater than equal to 3. So let's run this query. Now you have your output, and this output states all of those city names and the number of subscribers, and you can see we have only 9 rows here returned from our table, and all of those 9 rows have either a subscriber equal to 3 or greater than 3. So this is how basically you use SQL having clause when you have to use aggregate function. If you want to learn more about SQL, you can click on the right side of this video, or if you want to learn about Excel, you can click on the left side of this video. Happy learning and see you in the next video.